Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Podcast Juice here on Podcast Juice. My name is Michael Dean. Joining me today is Mr. Terrance Jackson. Sir, how are you?
Hey, good morning, good day, blessed day to everybody.
Yes, sir. And Terrance, man, I mean, what's special about you? And we always have special guests, but today we're going to go back into time. We're going to take it back to the old school. We're going to really get into something like that. OG times, original, days of Minneapolis and Prince, Terrance, Chazz, Andre. These are the cats who was there from the beginning. And so this is before all of the fame and all that stuff. And we're talking about when kids, when people was kids and, their moms, red light, green light, all that old school type stuff that we all grew up with. That is important, to sort of look into as well, to sort of see how people, were shaped and their family and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to talk to you today, Terrance.
Thank you. Well, I like to tell people, everybody has a beginning. Yeah. And for some odd reason, the stars placed me in the beginning of the artist known as Prince's life. And it's crazy because growing up, I never referred to him as Prince. For me, it was always Skipper. Okay. So a lot of times in a conversation, if I slip and say Skipper, I apologize, no disrespect.
No problem, man. We've heard that name before. And so let's just get into it, man. I want to go back to your beginnings. And let's just start out. Now, you were born and raised in Minnesota, is that right?
Minneapolis. Minneapolis. What's really funny is my mother and father both graduated from Central High School, the same high school that Prince graduated from in 1951. Wow. My mother and father. And then, oddly enough, my mom and Prince's mom knew each other as teenagers, when they were young, because I always heard Miss Mady della always talking about how she used to hold me in her arms when I was a baby. And then, thing is, by kindergarten, like I said, a memory I have is during, nap time, Prince and I had our mats next to each other. And little kid memories that you had to stay for some reason. But I remember when I used to look at Prince sleeping on his mat, his eyelids would be closed, but his eyeballs would be moving back and forth. And so for years and years and years, it took me to realize that it was REM, rapid eye movement, that he fell asleep really quick and was dreaming really fast. Of course, as I got older, I feel like. But that's one of the crazy memories I have about growing up with this guy everybody knows as Prince, the artist.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So, just a little setup for the listeners who don't really realize, what we're talking about. Now, you all lived next door to each other or in the same neighborhood. Give us a little background.
Well, this how that worked out. Growing up, we both lived on the north side, starting out in the same neighborhood in North Minneapolis. And then by the time he was 12, when he emancipated himself, basically, as how the story would go. But when he emancipated himself when he was 12, he first wanted to move in with me. It was just me, my mother, and my father in my home at 1248. But next door at 1244 was Andre Cymone, who actually moved in by the time he was maybe 10, 11, 12. Somewhere around, I think about 11 or 12, they moved in next door at 1244, Russell. But there were 6 kids. Andre is the youngest. Then there's Linda, Renee. Then there's Patricia. Then there's Eddie, Sylvia, and Sonny. So there's 3 boys and 3 girls. So according to what I recall, Bernadette was like, my mom was, first of all, my mom was like, when Prince wanted to emancipate himself, my mom was like, no, I'll be whooping his butt every day if he's at my house. So Bernadette was like, bring him over here.
Well, hold on, stop you for a second.
Because, my mom, when I'm 12 years old, my mom would use a word that I wasn't unfamiliar with until I got older. She said he was too arrogant of a child at the time. And she said she would be whooping his butt every day. My mom was a serious disciplinarian. For instance, if Prince would run from her, she'd take her house shoe off, and she would throw it at him. As soon as he hit the corner, her house shoe would act like a boomerang and still hit him in the head. It was funny as heck. I'm telling you, man. But anyways, yeah, my mom didn't play. She didn't care whose kid you was. My aunties would send their kids over to my house to get whooping. Okay.
Wow, okay.
My mom, that's how my mom was.
Yeah, you don't see that. But anyway, don't see that very much nowadays. Huh? I said you couldn't do that nowadays.
I'm sorry. Oh no, my mom went to jail a few times. Okay, seriously. Anyways, but here's the thing. So Bernadette and my mom and Mady della, they figured that Prince would be okay with the 6 kids over him because, Andre's brothers and sisters were some of the most best people you could ever know, but they were the true brothers and sisters. They didn't play. They would thump you in the head. They would smack you in the back of the neck. They were them kind of older brothers and sisters, talk about you like real bad, oh man, what's wrong with your hair, all kind of stuff. But so anyways, so Prince moved in next door when he was 12. But between 1244 and 1248, the doors were never locked. And so they're always like, if I got up too late in the morning to get to my kitchen table, Chazz, Charles Arthur Smith, Andre, Cymone, and Prince would be at my kitchen table. And every day, man, I had to put 4 boxes of cereal together to get 1 bowl of cereal because they're like, man, they're eating up all my cereal. But my mom didn't care like that. That's just how my house was.
Wow. Let me back it up a little bit. And you say Prince emancipated himself. Now, what year?
Uh-huh.
What year are we talking here? This is around what?
Like I said, I remember he was around 12 and stuff because again, we're all born in '58, but my birthday's in January. His birthday's in June, so I'm always a little bit older than him. But here's the thing: when my mom said the word, like I said, arrogant little child, again, it kind of hurt me because by me being the only child, I always wanted to have a little brother sister. I begged my mom for brother sister. So for Prince moving in, because Prince always spent the night at my house growing up. I had twin beds in my room. My house was the house to come over and spend the night at. And like I said, I spent the night at his house, but it was a lot more at my crib. So when the opportunity came for me to have him come to my house and stuff, well, like, yeah, but, it didn't happen. But again, by him being next door, he spent an awful lot of time at my house. Because again, the house next door was full of people already.
Now, what do you remember? What I wanted to ask about was, did it seem odd to you guys that he wanted to leave his house to live with you or somebody else?
You know what, man? I'm going to say it like this. As people know Prince as an artist, I knew him as, a kid growing up, but he was always different. I ain't going to lie. Through elementary school, I could truly say I've seen him do at least 3 talent shows. One talent show, he kind of got laughed at, but he tap danced like Fred Astaire. He did that, and it had been about 3rd or 4th grade. He tap danced, and then for 2 other talent shows, I know one for sure he played the Man from U.N.C.L.E., and that was like this. Everybody was like, "Oh, you're the stuff," and then he played Batman, the Batman, played the whole thing all the way through, and of course he was like, okay, but and then which another thing was, man, I always thought it was a dream because the only other guy that knows about this whole incident that went with us is a guy named Gary Kane, and he's not with. He's with us, but he's not. He's kind of like he's locked up. But again, I remember my mom dropping us off at the Armory in Minneapolis, and it was to see James Brown. And I remember making our way through the crowd to get to the stage. And I always remember Prince being up on stage doing the mashed potatoes, man. And the band was getting James Brown ready, just hyping it up. And the guy that put the cape on James Brown. But when Prince hit the stage and did the mashed potatoes, man, everybody just got stuck, right? And the dude that put the cape on James Brown kind of snapped out of it and grabbed Prince and threw him off. Now, here's the thing. I never confirmed it. I never heard the story from anybody until I just seen recently on Facebook an interview from 1985 on MTV. In the first 5 minutes, he talks about his stepfather, Mr. Baker, who was, one of the reasons why he didn't want to live at his house. But anyway, the point is, put him up on the stage, because I'm always trying to think in my mind, how did his little behind get up on that big-ass stage at the Armory, right? Because, again, we were 10 years old. But so all these years, I'm telling you, man, I'm 60 now. And it's always been a haze, but it's been confirmed he did do it. It really happened. So it just tripped me out, man, because it was the funniest thing for days at school, man. Because I'm telling you, man, I don't remember how he got there, but all I know was, man, he was on the stage with the band was kicking. They stopped. He was doing the mashed potatoes, man. The dude with the cape said, grabbed him, tossed him off, man. We laughed for days and weeks at John Hay Elementary, man. It was the funniest stuff, man. But I've never heard nobody talk about it since. But the funny thing is, then I get the video with him and Michael Jackson getting on stage with James Brown years later.
Right.
It's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing. But again, it's really funny that nobody talked about that. I've heard nobody ever talk about him jumping on stage doing the mashed potatoes at the Armory when he was 10. But it really happened because he confirmed it on the MTV interview. So I'm like, oh, it did happen. That wasn't a dream. Oh, thank you.
Okay. And you say, y'all talked about it at school for days. What was the school environment for y'all like? Like, how was y'all
Oh man, John Hay Elementary, man, was a gas. It was a multicultural school, but again, the community we lived in had basically been a Jewish community, and they basically moved out as blacks moved in. Actually, my family, my dad, my mom, and me were the first black family on 12th and Russell block. And stuff. So yeah, but in the end, it's all brothers and sisters and cousins, nephews, and nieces now.
Now, did y'all like walk to school, or was it like one of those busing type of things?
Well, yeah. The school wasn't that far from us, man. Like John Hay, it was John Hay and Lincoln Junior High School from my house from 12th and Russell was only like a block away, a block and a half at the most.
What?
So like the time the guys, go ahead, bro.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like the time that Chazz and Andre and Prince stole this dude's drums from Lincoln and stuff. They didn't have that far to go. Chazz had some difficulties with drum sets from time to time. So this one brother had a brand new drum set and he brought it to Lincoln Junior High, right? And put it in the music room. And you know those ceilings that you can like pop them out and like kind of foamy stuff. Anyway, some kind of ceilings. So somehow these three guys conceived a way to put the drums up into the ceiling to after school. And I don't know what difference that made, but anyway, that's what they did. I think it made it even more of an issue. But anyway, they took them back down after school was out and brought them from Lincoln Junior High down the alley to my house. Now, we jammed for like 3 days. But here's the thing. I live on Russell. Our streets go in alphabetical order, like from Aldrich all the way to Xerxes. So I live on Russell, but the next block over is Queen. So the guy on Queen, he's looking at the back window in the alley from his house and sees these guys carrying the drums down the alley to my crib, tells the dude whose drums they belong to, catches Chazz in class at Lincoln, and yeah, there was some issues.
Wow.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Grand Central, we were like a little gang in my mind, you know. I mean, because like back in our day, we had like the Chi-Town Gangsters, the Liberators, the Undertakers. They're all like our little neighborhood gangs back in the 70s and stuff.
Actually, I'm curious about that. I never really heard of that type of activity out there. Like, how was that? What was the politics of that? You guys was young kids.
Well, look, I'll say it like this, man. During all of the riots in the U.S. during the late 60s, like 68, 69, Plymouth Avenue, which is like the main strip of the heart of North Minneapolis, from Penn Avenue down to say maybe Humboldt, was in flames on both sides of the street. There were all prominent businesses like grocery stores, movie theaters, nickel and dime stores, all up and down the blocks and stuff for really at least 10 blocks. And they were in flames on both sides. And when we lived at the time, we lived on Knox. That's before we moved it on up to Russell. We lived on Knox at the time, so we were about maybe 3 blocks from that strip. And you can see the flames from my backyard and all that. And then at the same time, the National Guard in my neighborhood on those blocks for like maybe about a week or two. And me, myself, being maybe 8 or 9, saw people coming out of the Country Boy store, and all I saw was a bunch of Twinkies. So I grabbed some Twinkies, and somebody put M16 in my face. My mom said, "Don't leave the house for 3 weeks." So,
wow.
Yeah, that was my story about that one. But yeah, we had an incident in Minneapolis, Minnesota, man. It went down like that. As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, when that young man got killed by the Minneapolis police, they actually shut down Plymouth Avenue for about 3 blocks for like 17 days in front of the Minneapolis police station on the north side. So yeah, Prince is where he is because our community we don't play.
Yeah, I guess you're trying to say it ain't all raspberry beret and Purple Rain. No. Look, it got bad at a time. We had this annual event in Minneapolis called the Aquatennial Parade. That happens Aquatennial Parade. That happens in the summertime. Big deal. Going for a week, big events, and so they have a big deal downtown Minneapolis. It got so bad where they didn't want blacks to even come down to the event anymore. So we started our own event in North Minneapolis at the Phyllis Willie Community Center. And that's where the Battle of the Bands really took its hold, because we used to battle against Terry Lewis's band, Flight Times, Sonny T's band, the Family Back to Black, and we were standing the stage, and we used to kill them. But the whole thing is, in the short of that, there'd be no less than 5,000, about 15,000, 20,000 blacks and people all in one area, all because of the racial situation in Minneapolis back in the 70s. Oh, okay. Now, you talked about the bands and stuff, and wanted to go back, so y'all was kids, like, how early did you guys start to, gravitate to wanting to play instruments?
Well, I know that, again, Prince's father was a musician. Prince, that's how Prince got his name from his dad, Prince Rogers Nelson, because his dad called himself the Prince. But there was always a piano, the upright piano in Prince's basement as well, as long as I remember. But that didn't happen until they moved until like the 8th Avenue, whatever house and stuff, the second house. The first house didn't have no piano, wasn't big enough. But Prince, like I said, growing up, like I said, John A. Elementary, he was playing Batman and Man from U.N.C.L.E., so he was already versed in that. Now, the first time, me personally, getting into my mom bought me a drum set when I was 10 years old. And so my first personal instrument was a drum set. But by the time I got in junior high school, 7th grade, me and my mom are sitting in the audience, and there's a trio on stage, and it's Andre, Prince, and Chazz. And they're doing their thing. And I'm telling you, out there in the world can hear me. My mom took a picture of those three on stage, and somebody snatched it out of my house. It's somewhere, or I gave it away. I don't know. I can't say the way snatched it, but I don't have it, but I know it exists. The picture of that trio on stage somewhere, because my mom took a picture of it. But anyways, so after that happened in 7th grade, they really didn't have anywhere to go rehearse, basically, because they couldn't do it at Chazz's crib, because whatever, and they couldn't do it at Andre Cymone's crib, and Prince was staying there. So my mom said it was okay for them to come to my house. So I remember the three of them being in my basement, back in the laundry room, because we had a big finished basement at my house. But in the laundry room, my mom let them set up. So they're back there doing their thing, and I had nothing to play. But there was this hollow body guitar sitting around with no strings on. And I picked it up and I started playing like I was bongos or whatever. And the next thing I know, my mom took me to a pawn shop and got me a conga drum, a King Conga. Matter of fact, my first drum was a King Conga. And so from there we started rehearsing like a band. I was a part of the band, so it was a quartet now. And one of the very first gigs I remember. Because here's the thing, okay, everybody hears about all the different names we went through it becoming Grand Central. The first name that was Chazz came up with. It's called the band Charles, Cousin, and Friends. We're like, no, but that didn't fly too well.
Wait. Say that again. Say the name again.
Yeah, Chazz came up with the name Charles, Cousin, and Friends. Like Sly the Family Stone kind of thing, I guess. He was going off. Well, I don't know, man. But no, that didn't fly. And then around that time, too, there were two songs out. One by Sly Stone and one by James Brown. And they're both titled Sex Machine. And they were both big hits for both of them. And so, of course, not thinking of the incarnation of the word itself, we're like, we want to call ourselves Sex Machine. And so we said that out loud. Our moms were like, nah, no, you're not using that name for your band. No. So Sex Machine was out. And then I came up with the name Youngbloods, and I were like, nah. But at the same time, we were listening to a whole lot of Grand Funk Railroad. We really liked them. And actually went to go see them live at the old Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. Went to go see them and stuff. And it was a blast. But anyways, so that was a part of it, and the whole Central thing, everybody says it because he went to Central High School. I don't know. But anyways, somehow, some way, we ended up becoming Grand Central, and then became that stuff. Okay. And then everybody kept calling it. Then everybody kept on saying we're like Grand Central Station. Grand Central Station. No, we're not. No, it's Grand Central, not Grand Central Station. Because Larry Graham came out, too, with Grand Central Station around the same time.
And remind me, so if Chazz was playing the drums, what were you playing? Or were you?
Well, like I said, as a quartet, when it first started, again, it was a trio: Andre on bass, Prince on guitar, Chazz on drums, and then I came in on percussion. Okay. Conga, basically, a conga, one conga drum. Okay. And that's really funny because I don't know if you ever heard of the name Spike Moss, but Spike Moss was a community leader on the Northside and Minneapolis all together, and he had this place, community center called The Way, where Sonny T's band developed that. Back to Black, then they changed the name back to the Family. Anyways, they used to always have events at their place. It was on Plymouth Avenue, and one of the very first gigs we ever did was at the Way, because of Spike said, "Come on, you guys, come on down." Never heard us before, or nothing, and didn't know what we sounded like. But I'm telling you, man, every time I hear the song on my Pandora, or I hear it on the radio, or I see it in a movie, I'm like, man, we actually played this song. And I'm like, we were like 12, 13 years old at the time. And we actually played the song, and the song is Santana's Soul Sacrifice from Woodstock.
Okay, wow.
Prince played it. I guess. Well, I'm saying, like I said, Prince played the not only the Santana parts, but I think what was his name? The guitar player. He was young. Michael Sharif's the drummer. So, but the point is, okay. If nobody don't know this about Prince, I'm gonna say it out loud. He's a perfectionist. Always has been, apparently, and it went into all the way to his adulthood. Because if something didn't sound right, we laugh at each other. Man, because again, we had this, if it didn't sound like the record, then don't play it. You know what I'm saying? So that was instilled right away with us. So when we played Soul Sacrifice, believe me, it sounded like Soul Sacrifice. Guitar, bass, drums, percussion, it sounded like a record.
Wow.
And we're like 11, 12, 13 years old.
Now, let me ask you this. Does that come from, you kind of said, because they laugh at you, does that sort of, you better have that shit got to be tight, because if you wasn't, you was going to get clowned out. Like, people was going to.
Well, see, here's the thing. Because again, I really didn't know Prince into his career as a lot of your other former guests have and stuff. But here's my thing. Even by the time we were like 13 or 14, we were already docking each other, because that caused one of the only, actually few fights, the only fight I ever known to have with Prince was, I woke up one morning, because here's my thing, because I heard that he had brought the docking system into his adult, career, into his business and stuff. He was docking people like, oh, wrong note, $50, whatever. But here's the thing. I woke up one morning, and I could hear the three of them at the table, but I could hear Prince the most talking about, yeah, we're talking Terry, $5. I'm like, huh? So I'm waking up out of this. But all I'm hearing is Prince. And at the time, Prince had his big, Michael Jackson afro, and he had this K cutter. You know what a K cutter is?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like an afro pick. It's got the long. Hello. Yeah,
no, I said like a pick. Yeah.
Yeah, like a pick. Yeah, with the handle on it. So Prince would always say to people that. I'm sorry, you lost me for a second. He would always say to people that he would take the pick out. If I ever get in a fight, I'm gonna take the pick out of my hair and I'm gonna hit him in the face. And he'd always say that, right? So I'm like, okay. So I get in the kitchen, man. We're standing. We had this island in the middle of my kitchen. There's some pictures around somewhere, but there's an island in my kitchen. So Prince was like, when I got up, when he saw me come to the kitchen, he got up and stood up right next to the island. So first thing I'm thinking, I'm a little bit taller than him, so I'm thinking he's gonna grab his pick, he's gonna hit me in the face with it. So as soon as I thought that, he grabbed it, and so I ran. And from my kitchen, going to the dining room goes into the living room and out the front door. And anyway, so I ran through the kitchen door, and we grabbed it, and he threw it at me, right? And it stuck in the wall. And everybody kind of like looked at it, and it's kind of, so you know how it does, like stick in the wall, it just kind of like slowly like falls. Right. It did with them notions. And so when it did that, we're all like, and I look at Prince, and Prince look at me, and he's from the kitchen, he goes straight out the front door. Boom, he's gone. He was fast, right? He's gone. And so I'm chasing after him, and he's like 3 or 4 like houses ahead of me, and I'm like, okay, I can't even catch him. So that was that. That was about the only true, I think, fight we ever had since kindergarten.
Man, that's kind of crazy. So he threw that would have to be in a movie. So you came in the room and he was talking about docking you. And then, but what prompted him?
Look at $5, man, in the 70s, man, $5 is big money, man.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm just saying, but what prompted him to want to throw the pick at you? Did you like run up on him or something? Because
first of all, my mom used to stand in my doorway in my room and throw shoes at me. She wouldn't come next to me and like touch me and wake me up. I don't wake up good. And then again, I woke up hearing somebody charge me some money on something crazy. So yeah, I had guess I might have been a little menacing, maybe. I don't know. And Sprint wasn't taking no chance. I don't know.
And did like everybody sort of stop and pause when that pick went into the wall? Like,
oh man, no, I'm telling you, man, no, it was like, yeah, no, it just don't ring, it just thing in the wall, and again it did the slow, it fell to the ground, and me and Prince did that eye contact, and he took off.
I know you was like, Nick.
But man, it was again though. Man, I'm fast. Look here, I was the fastest in Lincoln Junior High School in 9th grade. Okay, we went to the city track meet, the whole 9, man, blue ribbons down. I'm a very fast man. I used to be. I know I can barely walk. Now, the main point is, I used to be really fast. Prince was faster. That's all I was saying. Like I said, by the time I hit outside, he was like 3 or 4 houses down, and I couldn't catch him. I couldn't even think about it.
And I forgot, like, who was, what were the ages? Who was the older and younger of the crew here?
Well, me, Andre, and Prince are all born in 1958. Oh. Linda is about a year older, if not 2. Chazz is about a year, if not 2, and Morris a year older, if not 2.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, in Hollywood. William Dowdy. William, I love you, man. I'm sorry, man. Hollywood's been there since kindergarten with us too. It was me, because the picture of my mom took of us in first grade is me, Hollywood, and Prince in first grade, Miss Cheese's class at John Hay. And then the picture of us on my mom and dad's front lawn at 1238 of all of us together, Linda, Andre, Cymone, Morris Day, myself, Prince, and William Dowdy, Hollywood. It's really funny because Hollywood, Prince, and myself are standing all next to each other, and there's a picture of us in first grade together. So that's like some Twilight. To me, that's like a Twilight Zone situation. You know, how it all worked out, you know, like that. And
I'm curious, what was the aftermath of that, of the pick incident? Did y'all just sort of laugh it off? And
man, come on, man. Like, you know, look at, man, if nothing else, our mom ain't gonna let us fight. Okay? Right. About anything, no matter what it is. You know, that, again, you know, look at, my mom was 5'3", but you might have thought she was about 6'9", 400. Yeah, but that didn't happen. You know, we loved each other, man. Like I said, we were a gang, man. We looked out for each other. We loved each other. You know, we broke bread with each other. You know, I mean, like for instance, learning songs. There's a picture I got on Facebook. I'm standing in front of the stereo. I got one of my outfits for Grand Central in it. But anyways, there's a stereo, man. We spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours at that stereo because, you know, learning our songs, that was the only method of learning songs because there was no, them guys didn't even have a closing play next door to listen to, you know, any music on. And Chazz's dad was too kind of like much of a disciplinarian to be hanging out at his house listening to music. So my mom my mother, she was a special education school teacher at John Hay and Lincoln and worked for the Minneapolis School Board. And then my father was one of Minneapolis' first black city prosecutors and retired county attorney. Oh, okay. Again, they both graduated from Central High School. So my house was kind of like a community center. When we had the ping pong table in the basement, that was a big thing. A lot of people talk about Prince playing ping pong. That was a battle zone. Ping pong table at 1248 was a battle zone, brother. No. We stand in line taking turns, like next.
Who was winning the games back then?
Man, it was my house, my table. Hello.
Okay.
Come on, man. How dare you? No, sorry, Mike. The reason for the ping pong table, see, my dad was in the Korean War, and he spent a lot of time in Korea doing special duty and stuff like that, so he had a lot of free time, so he played a lot of ping pong. And so he was, like, trying to be the master of the table, but point is, it was still my table. That's all I'm saying. Leave it at that.
Okay. I would have loved, it would have been I would have been cool if you had came as y'all was adults, because I heard Prince was cold on the ping pongs, as you know, in the late.
Well, man, no, but see fudge ping pong basketball. I mean, how this? We are athletic, as everybody knows. Prince was athletic. Chazz was athletic. Cymone's athletic. I'm athletic. Thing is, man, music became our sport, but we still like sports. Now, like I said, all of our blocks were alphabetical. We were on Russell, so we're like in the middle, kind of like, you know, a third of the way down from like the neighborhood. But the neighborhood starts at Aldridge, you know, Bryant, you know, Colfax, yada yada yada, all the way to Xerxes. So every neighborhood is a different neighborhood with a basketball hoop on somebody's garage in the back in the alley. And I'm telling you, man, it was a challenge up and down every block. Me, Andre, Prince, and Chazz. Everywhere, man, we hit every block, you name any street, anybody who said they could hoop it. 5 brothers, it could be 5 brothers, big, huge. We go up against them, man. Basketball was ours. Because my whole thing was, I hear a story about Charlie Murphy playing Prince against him, but he's playing. I'm like, man, I really wish I could have played him in some high heels. Because, man, come on, try to move, man. Anyway, the point is, man, I still play. Chazz still plays. I don't know about Cymone, but I know I still. Hey, the point is, how about this, man? Prince and my dad challenged me and Chazz to a best out of 3 up at North Commons Park. And again, mind you, I said my mom was 5'3". So was my dad. My dad was 5'3". But I'm 6 feet tall. Chazz is 6 feet tall, and we're both about this height by the time we were 15 or 16. So we were always tall, right? But so Prince has always been Prince. So he ain't never, even in the picture of us and my mom and dad's front lawn, you can see he was afro. He already comes to my shoulders. So Prince ain't never been very tall either. So my dad and Prince against me and Chazz. Now, Chazz is a hooper. I can hoop. Prince, as people know, can hoop. My dad, he can hoop, I guess. So we played 2 out of 3, man. No, man, I'm going to say it like this. Me and Chazz did not get the best out of 2 and 3. 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Prince and my dad whooped our butts, man. And me and Chazz talked about the other day, man. We were kind of reminiscing about that, man. Yeah, my dad and Prince, man, they 2 little short brothers, they hooped us out.
Wow.
Prince used to have this little stutter step move. I could never. I knew it, but knowing him all my life, so I always kind of knew it when he had this little stutter move he would do on you and stuff coming on the sideline under the hoop, and he would get you with it if you didn't know it, but he would pretty much get you like I say 99% of the time with this move he had. Yeah, he could play, and he had a good shot.
Okay.
He was quick.
Tell me about, you had sent me over a few things to review, but there was something that jumped out I thought was kind of funny. Can you elaborate more about this? Y'all going to the drive-in movies? The drive-in movies. Now, it's Minnesota, and we got really nice, summer and fall nights, and we have drive-in theaters, and my mom was real big on those. And at the time, she had this Vista Cruiser station wagon, with the wooden panels and stuff. And, we come in the house, and she's, making the popcorn on the stove, the old way with the pot, and then she's putting Kool-Aid in a Coolman cooler and stuff, right? But by the time we get to the drive-in, it's me, Chazz, Andre, and Prince. And my mom was like, well, I don't have enough money to get us all in. So, Andre, Prince, can you guys get underneath the seat? So she would have them 2 get underneath the back seat and fold it down. So when me and Charles and her would go in, they wouldn't see those 2 because they were so small. They were not as big as the rest of us. So, anyways, that was one way. My mom was again when it came to us as a crew. Andre, Prince, me, Chazz. My mom took us she took us to this I think it's St. Croix River on a canoe trip. She packed us up all these big lunches. And we put them on the canoe. So you go from one point to another point. We get to this bridge. Andre sees a spider, freaks out. Of course, their canoe tips with all the food in it. They grab our canoe tips. So it was just a disaster all the way around. The canoe didn't work out. My mom would take us fishing at Lake Minnetonka. Wow. We'd be on the dock because she had friends who had properties out there. They would let us come out there and hang out and stuff and fish off the docks. And somehow, somebody, Chazz falls in the water. Prince goes to get him. He falls in the water. Kid stuff, man. I'm telling you, man. See, as kids, I'm telling you, young kids, man. I think consider ourselves like a gang and a family. I can't live without those kind of memories and stuff because we did a lot of crazy stuff. I gotta say this one. Okay, it's like a clear. All I remember was a clear afternoon day, like middle afternoon, sun shining out of clouds, the sky. And 4 of us are walking down Plymouth Avenue, and this old dude's like, "Hey, y'all band, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." So y'all need some equipment, huh? We're like, "Yeah." And so hey, I'm gonna take you somewhere. And it takes us like maybe 3 or 4 blocks from my house down this alley to the garage that's full of all this equipment, right? All this beautiful PV equipment. It's like the PA system, the guitar amp, the bass amp, but it's all got that sparkly blue puffy stuff covered in it, right? And it was a big set. A grown man. This is a grown man that came up to you guys?
Man, look at here, man. I kid you not. This is true. Man, you can ask Chazz, Cymone, any of them, about this one. This is true to fact. Anyways, all right, we got to be 13 or 14 years old at the most. Because this before Morris got the band. By the time Morris got the band, I think I was about 15, 16. So Chazz is still here. So anyway, because for me, there's 2 different stories. There's a Chazz Chazz Grand Central and there's the Morris Day Grand Central. Two different bands. So, anyways, so this guy, so we're going to the garage, and okay, we're walking down Plymouth Avenue, broad daylight, with the sparkly blue equipment, huge. I'm talking about these are big, like I said, PA systems, guitar, bass, amps, all whole nine, to my house. Okay, so for 3 days, at least 3 days, my dad's coming to the top of the stairs. We're in the basement. Right? He's flicking the light. Hey, you guys are shaking the pictures off the walls. I mean, we're killing it. You know, just we got sound because before that happened, we called our amps sandwich amps because they were so little, no sound. You know, they were like a little cheap, like $25 amps, whatever. Whatever. That's all we had. But now we had sound. They were cranking. Andre and Prince were cranking everything. We're cranking vocals. We were singing our butts off. I happened to look up this particular day at the window well to the backyard. Now, from the back of my house to the alley, got to be about 200 feet because you got the full yard, then you got a driveway, then the alley. But from the window well to beyond, all I could see was feet. I'm like, huh? So I go up the stairs to the back door, and I'm looking out the back door, right? And I see a whole bunch of grown folks. I'm like, okay. Only thing that came out of my mouth, Brother Mike, was, Mom! And I called my mom. I went back in the basement. I don't know what my mom said. I don't know what transpired, but all the equipment went out the basement, nice and slow. And here's the thing, man. Again, I as an adult person, I thought about it years later. We never heard nothing else about it. My mom just scolded us about where'd y'all get it, or that was pretty much like a felony theft. That had to been $1,000 worth of equipment. We had it for 3 days, and I don't know, man. But I thought about dude didn't even ask for no money. Right. So that was I didn't think. Again, this is years after the fact. I started thinking about this stuff. I'm like, but back then it was like, okay, let's go get it, yeah. And then I got this homie, his name was Rome, and he was real good at getting cars that really didn't belong to him. And so the particular summer, yeah, well, some people call it stolen property, stolen vehicle, but anyways, but back in the neighborhood, it was a really popular thing with a lot of our neighborhood friends and family members like to do that stuff a lot, right? So anyways, he happened to get, mind you, Chazz himself had, oldest of all of us was 14 at the time when this incident happened. Chazz was 14. So he just gives us this, I thought it was a Ford Fairlane, but he said it was a Chevy Impala. But here's the thing, it was convertible. It was beautiful. It was like a 64, 65 Chevy Impala. And there was an abandoned garage about 3 houses down the alley on the Queen side of our alley. And this is where we kept this car for 3 months.
Wow.
And remember the car so well that for my 9th grade graduation of that year, Chazz was driving, top down. I'm in the front. Prince and Cymone are in the back. Now, we're going downtown Hennepin Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota, to go to Flag Brothers shoe store to get my shoes for graduation from 9th grade. Now, again, nothing ever happened. This is great, like in the very beginning. Again, we had a car for 3 months, so it was like the beginning of us having this car. So this one particular evening, towards the end of this 3 months of having this car that we would just drive and doing our thing in, Hollywood decides he wants to try to drive the car, right? Okay, man, all right, go ahead. So he gets in it, now he's just as tall as Prince, so he can barely see over the dashboard. So he goes down the alley, hits 12th Avenue, and then hits Queen, because the streets are one ways in opposite directions while he depends what the street is. So he goes down Queen, hits Plymouth to come back to Russell. When he hits Russell, he turns on our block, but there's a car right behind him, right? And so the way he acts like he's about to park so the car can go around him, but the car does not go around him. The car parks behind him. And so Andre, Chazz, Prince, and myself, we're all standing Bernadette. Well, I'm sorry, Mama Bernadette. That's 1244 Russell. I refer to Andre's mother as Mother Bernadette because she adopted me when I was 18. Anyways, we're standing on their hill because both our houses are on hills, and we're watching this whole thing transpire. And so Hollywood's just sitting in the car, kind of like peering out because again you can barely see his head because he's so little. And I'm swearing, man, this lady had to have been about 6'2", with heels. And now, you remember back in the day, the rabbit fur coats? with all the colors in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, she had one of those on. But again, this was a rather large lady. No, not hefty, but just like tall, like Grace Jones, like.
Okay.
And she jumps out she jumps out the car. When she jumps out the car, man, she got one of her arms up in the air, and she's holding. It had to been like a 44 or a 38 because it was big enough for us to see how big it was. It was big, right? Holding the gun in the air, and she says, "MF, get the F out of my car." Woo. And we're standing on the hill like, woo. And then, man, hold on, man. She pauses. She looks down in the car and says, William Dowdy, is that you? I know your mama. Get the F out of my car. And we're like, woo. And Hollywood jumps up out the car, goes straight in the opposite direction. But we're on the hill like, ooh. No, we done had this car for 3 months, top down, whole nine, downtown Minneapolis, son.
Wow.
You know? And the one time Hollywood decides to take it for a spin, the woman sees her car. It almost blows his brains out.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Wow. So yeah, it was like that. It was like that for us, man. We was a family. We was a gang. We loved each other. We did a lot of crazy stuff, man. Without even thinking about it, we was kids, man. We were kids, right, man. That's all I'm saying. My excuse for it.
That's crazy. What now?
Yeah, man.
Listen, so y'all young men and y'all having misadventures and doing. But what was it like with the ladies? Like I know there was. I mean, come on now.
Well, man, that's one thing. Having girlfriends wasn't a real big thing at first for any of us. I mean, we all had girlfriends. I remember one time my mom and dad were out of town or out something, and in my house at 12:8, we had a fireplace, working fireplace and everything. So it was the era of Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway, Where's the Love? That was just out, and it was big. And it was these two girls from my junior high school, from Jefferson Junior High School, Dawn and Lisa. Beautiful. One was Puerto Rican and one was mixed. Oh my God, beautiful girls. And so me and Andre gonna try to do the Superfly, say I don't know who are they, but we try to be cool. We had the fireplace going. Now here's the thing: my mom and dad had a full bar in the basement, stocked.
Uh-oh.
We'll get to one of them stories too. But yeah, at the time, so me and Andre we got a bottle of wine. We were like 8th grade, bro. We were like eighth. No, it couldn't have been no 8th or 9th grade. Somewhere around there. So we got the fireplace, and the girls come over. We're kicking back. Where's the Love playing? Donny Hathaway, but Brett Flack's playing and stuff. We split up. The next thing I know, Audrey's knocking on my door, talking about, man, they gotta go. I'm like, huh? Right? Like it could have been no more than like maybe the second song of the album, right? They gotta go. And so, anyways, like I guess in junior high school, there's a lot of new things that happen with young women that they ain't even aware of sometimes, and that happened in his the track.
Wait. Back it up because I'm on a slow bus. What's going on there?
Well, we once we were trying to get friendly with the young girls and stuff, the young girl found out that something was going on with her body that she wasn't aware of yet.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, and they had to leave. Yeah, man. Yeah, so.
Damn.
It's one of those things.
I got you.
But the girl thing, with the girlfriends, our thing was, man, it was that was like a competition. Especially by the time Morris got in the band, things changed till we were a little older. By the time with Chazz, we were in junior high school. With Morris, we were in high school. So things really changed. We were starting to play in more high schools, more events and stuff by that time. So it became like, but by the time, I'm not going to say real quick, by the time we got done with gigs, we tried to see who had the most numbers.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
Well, no, I want to get into that, but you brought up Morris a couple of times, and I'm curious, like that transition from Chazz to Morris, like what was your take on that? And
that was a funny. Again, things happen with Chazz. Chazz was great in the grand. A lot of people will always tout Prince as being a lead singer of anything, but Prince was never a lead singer of Grand Central. And if anyone was ever a lead singer of that band, I would say it was Chazz. I mean, coming out the box. Chazz is a lot of vocals behind the drums. He was, a lot like Phil Collins kind of dude. Okay. He could play and sing at the same time. Now, that's the difference between Morris and Chazz. Morris really didn't have the ability to play and sing. Morris' ability on the drums was just phenomenal, and that's what just brought him right in. The first time me and Prince saw Morris and stuff, it was like, okay, come on, bring your drums, let's go. because it was between Morris Day and this other drummer. When the whole thing came down where Chazz wasn't going to be in the band anymore in the group, it was between Morris Day and the Southside drummer by the name of Keith King. Keith King was the drummer for this band called Quiet Storm. Quiet Storm, I think, or something like that. I'm sorry, I got it wrong, but he was in the Southside band. Which is really funny, is because initially when Grand Central started, we didn't have no managers. Only manager we had in anything, roadies, was our moms. And a lot of it was my mom, because she was the only one who had a station wagon and was willing to take us to the community centers and the schools, because nobody else would do it. We had nobody else until this guy named Frank Jackson came along. We used to be an opening band act for the Southside group called, I think it was, again, Quiet Storm. Oh my God, I hate getting the name wrong. But anyways, again, we were a young group, so these guys were older than us, but they had all the equipment. And there was this manager guy named Frank Jackson. At one particular time, made the decision that he was just going to just deal with Grand Central exclusively, and just basically disassembled hit the band that he's been managing for years, and just gave us all their stuff, all their equipment, the PA system, bass amp, guitar amp, and became Frank Jackson before Morris Day's mom was officially our really first manager we really had. But he was so shifty, our mom was like, "No, you got to get rid of him."
How was he shifty?
Because man, like say at Glenwood Community Center, right? We play there, $2 a head. We packed the place, 200-300 people in that place. We walk out of there with the 4 or 5 of us with like $50 to the split. Oh, okay. So our mom was like, "Nah, something ain't right with that."
All right.
So that lasted. I don't know how long I can't really truly remember how long that lasted, but he was like our first man. That was when we really first started becoming more of a band. A lot of people don't even have this. Andre doesn't talk about it really, because he's one of the ones who could, and Morris. But we used to actually back up these guys called the Standells, like the Temptations kind of group, or Stylistics, or Four Tops. Yeah, man, and they know they wore the same kind of outfit, suits and stuff, and they did all them, those songs, and they had their dance routines. And we that's how we started playing at the little bars and clubs, because they were all older than us, and we were the backup band.
Okay, you said they were called the Standells?
The Standells, yep. This brother named Lewis Chapman was one of the singers for sure, but it was like at least 4 or 5 of them. And that's like a lot of people don't talk about them, because a lot of it, back in the 70s, that was the thing, the guys out front, because one of the first gigs we did at the club with Morris in the band, we played at this club called the Flame Ballroom on I think on 15th or 16th and Nicollet. Adult club, my God, pimps, hookers, players, hustlers, the whole nine up in this joint. But we played with this band called A Sweet Taste of Sin and the Philadelphia Story. Philadelphia Story was the group out front. Sweet Taste of Sin was the backup band, but they were kind of like the Ohio Players. Oh my God, they were this bad. But again, we got to play as an opening act or band, whatever, up in this adult club, and that's kind of what ruined my life. But I won't talk about that. There's some other podcast.
Right. Yeah. Wait. How do you see something there that sparks your interest or something? Like what? How does that?
Well, no. Here's the thing, man. By the time I was 15 years old, I was almost as tall as I am now, which is 6 feet. And it took me years after the fact to realize that all those older women who give me the numbers and give me money when I was in high school were pretty much using me. As a young man, vibrant, healthy, I guess. I don't know, but yeah,
cougar, those cougars.
Yeah, exactly. And again, so and my mom, for instance, my mom would be at Satin Dow Young Brothers Salon on Plymouth. Actually, the barbershop is still there on Plymouth Avenue, and she would come home talking about, they were talking about some woman robbing the cradle, and they was talking about you.
Wow.
Yeah, so it used to be a little crazy back in the day, man. Yes, sir. 70s were roaring times for sure. 70s was something else, man. I remember like one time there was this little park on Plymouth and Penn. We always used to hang out. There was a little basketball hoop there and everything. A little hangout spot. I remember one time me and Andre ducking behind a tree and bullets hitting it. So matter of fact, one summer they had touted the Northside of Minneapolis as Dodge City because everybody was dodging bullets.
Wow, it was like that. Okay.
It was like that, man. I mean, there was cats right around the corner from us dying on the streets, and people getting their heads blown off at the out-hours club from the police, and I was blocked away and stuff. You know, you can see that stuff from my backyard.
Oh man, that's crazy. Crazy. Now, you know, going back to Morris though, like again, I'm just curious, like what did you, what was the conversation from your perspective with Chazz to be like, yo, man, we about to go, we moving with this cat now? Like you.
Well, see, no. The whole thing. See, I didn't find out about Chazz's situation until years and years after the fact. Never knew that. You know, I hope he doesn't ill on me for this. But see, Chazz was raised by a single father in the '70s. You know, and he lost his mother when he was real young, like 7 or 8 or something like that. So his dad raised him and his younger sister by himself. And, you know, and so Chazz went through some things. And our moms knew about it, you know. And, of course, us as kids, we didn't. And see, Chazz, you know, kept stuff from us and stuff. And, again, Chazz shared it with me. And so I'm like, wow, man, I really feel bad. But anyway, so there'll be days, man, we be in my basement looking at the drum set to rehearse, and Chazz would not be there. But not like one day. It'd be like days on end, like 2 or 3 days. I'm like, man, this is not cool. I mean, he wouldn't show up. But I come and find out years later it's because, you know, he had, you know,
Gotcha.
his dad was like, you know, getting it. Yeah. The point is, yeah, it was some issues at home.
Okay.
And again, he didn't want to share it with us. So anyways, so by not knowing that, like I said, all I remember is me and Prince were standing in downtown Minneapolis on 7th and Hennepin next to Schindler's bookstore, waiting on a bus. Now, the thing about this particular corner was there were 2 buses. One went south and one went north. And the south side bus was to go see Keith King. Because, again, Keith King could play drums and sing at the same time. He was phenomenal, singing and playing drums, man. So we're like, okay, Keith King on our option too. So, but at the same time, the bus over north but came first. And so me and Prince hopped in the bus, went over north, went to Morris's house. His room was upstairs. Now, this is how I remember it. Everybody has a different memory. I remember it different. Everybody remembers it different. But this is how I remember it. Me and Prince walked up to Morris's room. He had his drum set sitting in the corner with a little record player, you know, behind it, right? And kind of like not necessarily a close and play, but one of them open old-style record players sitting right there. And the thing about I always remember about Morris was his drum set didn't have any covers on them. They were like all wood, like he stripped off all the, you know, whatever, if they're blue, red, or white, he had taken them all off, and they were just all wood. So I'm like, that looks pretty cool. So he puts on a record. Now, at this particular time, a lot of popular music around was, for sure, Tower Power. Tower Power was real popular at the time in the 70s. And Morris just happens to put on this Tower Power record. And puts on, I can't remember if it was Squib Cakes or What Is Hip, but all I know is me personally, Prince and Morris and Andre and Wynn, we all seen Tower Power 3 times at least at the O'Shaughnessy Auditorium in Minneapolis. We went to go see them, you know, up front. And the drummer, David Garibaldi, ain't no joke. And God bless him, because I heard he was an actor not too long ago. But anyway, Morris put this on and started hitting them licks by David Garibaldi like it wasn't nothing. I mean, smooth, precision, didn't break a sweat. And me and Prince kind of looked like each other and said, can you bring your set over? Like, today, tomorrow? How soon? You know, and so it happened pretty much it happened that quick. Because when Chazz came in the basement and saw Morris's drums, he was heartbroken. But it was no turning back. You know, after that. And I see our moms, since they knew the situation, they got so mad at us that they actually, they kind of like didn't let us rehearse at the house for a while. And we had to go next door and rehearse at Cymone's house for a little bit. But again, it was a matter of space, though. You know, again, it was just like, you know, Linda still lived there. I think Trisha still lived there. Andre Prince still lived there. You know, Mr. Anderson, Mrs. Anderson, you know. So, again, it was a space issue for 1244. And that's why we do most of the rehearsing. That's why I always tell people, in my eyes, 1248 is the birthplace of the sound of Minneapolis.
Okay, wow. And
but back. Go ahead. No, you go ahead, man.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, you know, so you had what was that one cat you said was the manager, Frank something?
Frank Jackson. Frank Jackson.
So, yeah, after Frank Jackson, now is it Morris's mom? Does she?
Yeah, so Morris's mom came in and just took the helm. She had that mindset, you know, and God bless her and everything, you know, because she really transitioned us into who we all have become, you know, from her perspective, and I bless her for it, because again we end up incorporating ourselves. Did you got a chance to see that little partial contract I sent you? Yeah. So yeah, she got us. So we like I said, incorporated ourselves. Our gig status went way up. We really, I reflect on something. You know, we auditioned for the Minnesota State Fair, I think around 75 or so, and we did this song by New Birth called was it Dream Maker? I believe it was Dream Maker.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, it was a New Birth song, and one thing and nothing else. Even though Morris didn't do like leads of any at all, he could at least still do background. So he was all a chimed in voice on a harmony. And one thing about Grand Central, I'm so proud of to this day, because again, it goes by Princeton standards. Our harmonies are off the chain, man. Even Linda, who we used to like twist arm, neck, toe, everything to get her to sing, man, when she chimed in on the harmonies, again, it was 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6-part harmonies. Oh my God, man! But the thing about the Minnesota State Fair is they denied us entry for the play.
Why do you think they did that?
So we never got. Well, I think it was the sign of the times. You know, the '70s. You know, we were all black band, and they didn't want us out the State Fair. Because again, it was even at the Aquatrino, the events downtown. You know, those were separated.
Wow.
Back then, okay. Yeah.
And then, so, you know, with Morris and the band, I mean, how long does it go until when Prince sort of like, you know, starts to sort of move and doing his own thing and stuff? Well,
here's the thing. We did a gig for the Miss Black Minnesota, right? And there was an incident where they wanted us to wear these little, like, belly tied Hawaiian islandy looking shirts, and I just didn't like them. So right before we went on stage, I changed my shirt, and everybody got mad at me because they're like, "You're trying to be the leader of the band, you know? I mean, like you're the front out front, blah blah blah." They got mad at me, so I wasn't in the band long after that. And then not long after that, Prince wasn't in the band long after that. And when Prince left Grand Central, he actually went down the street to Sonny T's band, the Family Back to Black, at the Way, and a lot of people don't know that he was actually in Sonny T's band for a while after Grand Central, and that's where he took his very first road trip from, because they went down like to Arizona or something and did a gig down there.
Oh, really?
But yeah, Prince hung out with Sonny T way before Sonny T was in his band.
Okay, wow, I didn't know he was in the band actually. Was that the Family? Is that what they were called?
Yeah, again, there was the band. The band had Sonny T's band had two names. They were the original Family, and then their first name before the Family was called Back to Black.
Okay.
You know, because they were revolutionary. That was the Way Community Center. You know what I'm saying? They were representing.
Man. So.
Yeah, but again, they were a phenomenal band. Though, see, we as Grand Central, me, Chazz, Andre, and Prince, we would go all the way down to the Way and watch them rehearse. See, a lot of people don't understand that Prince learned a lot of his skills from Sonny T, coming up, because Sonny's older than all of us.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I hear people. You know, I've heard Prince or people talk about. You know, Prince would talk about Sonny. You know, like that's the guy.
Well, originally Sonny was supposed to have been in the Revolution after Andre Cymone before Mark Brown Mark. But, you know, it didn't work out. But here's the thing. Sonny had been hired by James Brown's band way before all this stuff transpired. And he was down in Tennessee or whatever doing his thing and stuff with James Brown's band. And the band went out, without telling James, and recorded some stuff. And, of course, Sonny was with the band. And when James found out that they did that, he fired everybody, including Sonny. And so Sonny was in James Brown's band for like 2 weeks.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool.
I know, a lot of people don't. I'm from the hood, man. That's my family.
I feel you. Wow. Okay. And then, so like, you mentioned the incident with the Hawaiian shirts and stuff, and you said you wasn't in the band shortly after that. Like, what was that like for you not to be? Well, y'all still. So I'm trying to understand. Like y'all used to hung out and stuff, and was boys. Like,
well, no, I mean, we were neighbors, man. I mean, you can't help but see him every day. Right. Even after that, you know, I see. But my whole thing is, to this day, at 60, I still play. You know, I mean, I played with Jelly Bean last year in Minnesota at the Minnesota Music Cafe. I still play percussion. I never stopped playing.
Okay.
And I got to a lot of people, man. Sheila E's job is really my job. You know, that's how I really think she got that job, is because, you know, I wanted to be the baddest percussion player, timbali player on the planet. You know, that was my thing, you know. And I used to drive Prince crazy with my playing, because I wanted to be the best.
When there's certain songs that jump out at me now that you say that, like the song "Cool," right, from the time, and it's got all that percussion stuff in that. Would that have been some type of things? No. I'd say more anything that Prince produced with Sheila E. That would be more along our lines. Okay.
Our band, say like Hollywood played congas. I played timbales and congas. Linda played keys. Morris on drums, Andre on bass, and Prince on guitar. That was our whole setup. Our whole thing was we had no horns. Every other band, Flight Time with Terry Lewis, they had 5, 6 horns. Family Back to Black, they had about 2 or 3 horns. Our horn player was Linda Renee Anderson. Okay. Every time we did any Tower Power song, any Chicago Ohio Players, our horn section, the whole Prince's whole concept that he promoted with his Oberheim system when he first came out. You know, that was all derived with Linda. They both came up with that whole, this is how we do the horns and stuff on the keys. That Linda was a big part of that.
Interesting. What did you think of the success, even the first album? I don't know if you were still in contact with Prince or Andre and them, but you know, what was your observation of like when the first album dropped?
For You, talking about the For You out of Sausalito. Well, here's the thing. When him and Andre went to Sausalito and produced that album, and Prince first came back, there was a drum set up at 1244 Russell, and Prince and he came down and put his guitar on and started playing, and I got on the drums. We must have played for about 3 hours, and we talked for a while. And I took the single "Soft and Wet" to the radio station with him, and yeah, it was an interesting situation. But then he came up with this whole thing where he wanted an all girls band. He didn't want nobody from Grand Central. He wanted to have all these girls back him up when he got back. And I'm like, okay. So that's when the girl Sue Ann Carwell, I don't know if you're aware of the name Sue Ann Carwell from St. Paul. Mm-hmm. She's done a whole lot of stuff. If you Google her, man, she's incredible. Matter of fact, the movie The Wedding Planner with Jennifer, what's her name? J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, The Wedding Planner. Yeah, actually, Sue Ann Carwell wrote that song, and is even Turn It On, that's her singing.
Oh,
the title song.
Okay, wow. Right.
Yeah, anyway, that's hometown, baby. I'm telling you, that's hometown. I love them.
Now, she did a lot of stuff with Jesse, too, right? She did a lot of stuff with Jesse Johnson.
Yeah, she did. She did, yeah. But here's the thing, though. So, when Prince came with the concept, he wanted to have an all-girls band, which really funny is because Third Eye Blind was a total dream. Because again, when he came back to Sausalito, that was his whole idea. I want girls to back me up. So anyway, that was way back in 77, 78, whatever. But here's the thing. So when it comes to Sue Ann Carwell, he wanted her to be that's how she ended up getting her deal, because Prince found her as a singer, but he wanted her to be his percussionist in his band, which never happened. So when they ended up hearing her, when Owen Husney and them and Cliff Siegel heard her, that's how she ended up getting her deal.
Okay.
But anyways. That's that story. But so all that didn't work out, and then as you know, Gail Chapman and Des Dickerson and Matt and all them ended up being in the band and stuff, and Bobby Z and Andre. But I tell a lot of people. Matter of fact, I just think it's a true thing. The reason why I really feel Andre was in the band was because Prince couldn't find anybody else to play the part, because again he was adamant about not having any of us in this group.
Why do you think that was, in your opinion?
Well, okay, from what I remember, when he had his house on 50th in France, the Blue House, that house was cool because he had got a hold of Patrice Rushen's star. He had did something or was around it somewhere, but he had took his star off the door and brought it home, and so he had it on his door on 50th in France. Yeah. So, but anyways, we were standing outside, and because here's the thing, in my basement. at 12:48, we made a pact, because we never knew. We were kids. We were like, okay, if any of us make it first, we'll come back and get the other, we'll come back and get everybody. So that was a pact we made as kids. So I threw that at him at 50th and Francis. And, man, don't you remember that pact we made, when we were kids? And he said to me, well, my management said that's not a good idea to have friends and family in the organization. And I'm like, kind of like, huh? And he said, anyways, we were kids then. And I'm like, okay. And just left it at that. But yeah, I did. I brought it up in the end. But for me, it was a product of his management not wanting to really have, his friend, like I said, have somebody. The way I look at it is like divide and conquer from the management's point of view. Anybody close to him would have like probably been in their way to have them get the deals maybe they wanted. Hmm. But here's the thing: a lot of people don't know this though. But my father, being the attorney that he was, Leroy Warner Jackson. He actually took Prince's very first contract and restructured it. I don't know to what extent, but I know my father went through it, penciled it out, put stuff back in, took stuff out for Prince. And then at the same time with Cymone Carwell, when she was 17, when she signed with her label and stuff, and they tried to have all kinds of dumb stipulations, and my dad restructured that contract. When I actually, and people don't know, when Jesse Johnson got his first record deal, I was actually in his very first band. But that didn't work out because of issues, whatever. But the point is, my dad restructured Jesse Johnson's contract too with A&M Records.
Really? Now, just to go back, you said your dad was working on Prince's first contract to who? Who was this contract to?
With the one with Warner Brothers. My dad went through that for him. Yeah, the very first one with Warner Brothers. Yeah. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I sent you that contract we had with Grand Central, because my dad actually helped draft that.
Wow. Okay. And what's your dad's name? I'm sorry.
Leroy Warner Jackson.
Leroy Warner Jackson. All right. And you say he was one of the first
Black city prosecutors in Minneapolis.
Prosecutors. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing, man. Okay. I love the fact that your dad stepped up and was like, let me look over, these kids' paperwork, make sure.
Right. Yeah. And so that, see, like, again, my relationship with Prince, again, didn't get into his success and the way a lot of people know him as of today, but knowing him, to him developing into the person he was, I really feel a lot of influences. Prince had a lot of my dad in him. I go lie.
Really? In what way?
Yeah. Well, my dad was, he was very secretive. And he did a lot for a lot of people, because I didn't find out until after my father's passing that he did a lot for my relatives and friends. They go, your dad did this for me. He helped me with college. He did this. I'm like, oh, he did? Oh, okay. All right. And then of course, find out that Prince does a lot of stuff undercover for people, helping people out. Things like that. But at the same time, certain attitudes that you pick up on. Because again, a lot of people always say 1244 Russell, but only Cymone and Mrs. Anderson. But again, you got to figure, with 6 kids plus Prince had 7 kids. A lot of times there wasn't a whole lot to eat for the people on the bottom end of the totem pole. So again, they spent a lot of time at my house. Plus, again, I had twin beds at my house. I had a lot of space in my house. Prince spent a lot of time at my home.
Interesting. Did you ever meet or see Prince's dad? Did he ever come around?
Oh my goodness! Which one? The stepdad, Mr. Baker, or the real dad, John?
Well, start with John.
Yeah. Again, sir. Our parents were again. We were growing up. We were always blocks away from each other growing up. Okay, that was the first thing. Again, our moms knew each other as teenagers, so we always intermingled family wise in that aspect. At the same time, too, I got to tell you a story about Mr. Nelson, Mr. John Nelson. All right, there's these 2 little brothers, that like to take stuff that ain't theirs. So on the 55 highway strip, there's this big medium between the main streets and stuff off the highway. So Mr. Nelson apparently was coming home one evening, and these 2 cats, 13, 14, 15 at the most, they caught themselves robbing Prince's dad. Right? Mm. And so they say, okay, man, they're like, hey, give us your money. And Mr. Nelson was like, well, I ain't got no money on me, but I'll write you a check. They're like, oh, okay. And he's like, well, how much you want? And so they tell him. And at the time, there was a Plymouth Avenue Bank on Plymouth. And so he wrote him all the check. Of course, the knuckleheads go to the bank the next day and get arrested.
Wow.
But I gotta say this one, man. Just real quick. We got a little time, Mike.
Oh, we're good.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So one time, me and Cymone, man, me and Andre, this is the 4th of July, right? It was 4th of July. We go all the way out from Minneapolis to the suburbs to see one of his girlfriends, and she ain't there. We come all the way back. When we get off the bus on Plymouth and Russell, we see these two dudes going down this side alley carrying stuff. So we're like, what the heck? Oh, okay. And so they come back. We're like, what y'all doing? They said, we get in this house right here. We're like, oh, okay, where? Well, then they chose the house. So me and Andre go, okay, we go with them. All right, the front door is open, the back door is open. They done ransacked the whole bottom of the house. They said, oh, we're going upstairs. Y'all go get what you can. So me and Andre rummaging through stuff. I look out the front door. The police just pulled up and opened up their door, right? I'm like, yo, police. Me and Andre hit the back door. Boom! I hit the fence. I just jumped the fence. Boom! Andre can't make the fence, but he can make it. He's kind of thin, so he goes between the fence and the garage. I don't know how he did it, but he did. He's thin. So he made it through. We about 2 blocks away by the time we get done. We come all the way back around, circle around, and we get back. There's a whole crowd of people, right, around these two boys handcuffed. So they in handcuffs. So that's over and done with. But this is just the beginning. So we end up, by that time, evening's coming. Me and Dre run to my cousin. We go get some bread, some lunch meat, and some cheese from a local store, but we ain't got no money. And we go to the park that's having fireworks. And so I got fireworks, and one of my knucklehead friends, he's taking them and throwing them at people in the crowd. Please come and stop us. Take my fireworks. Me and Andre end up missing my cousin's brother, because it's on the south side now. We end up walking all the way home. So, unbeknownst to me, Andre goes over to his sister Sylvia's house to babysit for her. This is the next day. I'm staying over at Andre's house at 1244 Russell. I hear somebody knocking on the side door. I get up, I'm sleepy. I look out the side door. I see two white men standing in suits and stuff. They're standing there, and they got like a pad in their hand, and they're like, "Well, is Andre Anderson here?" I'm like, "No," but I can see my name on the pad. I say, "But Terry Jackson." They say, "Oh, can you step outside?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." As soon as I step outside, Mike, man, they got me up against the wall, patting me down. All I'm thinking is my mom's gonna look out the window, see this happening. They handcuffed me, put me in the car. Luckily, my mom didn't see it happening, but I'm in the car. They're telling me, "Yeah, y'all robbed the house yesterday, right?" I'm like, "Huh?" Yeah, we got these two guys. They said that you guys came in the house and took everything. Where'd you put it? I'm like, huh? Wow. Apparently these two dudes, man, put everything on me and Andre.
Snitching.
So Andre is about 2 blocks out at his sister's house babysitting, so they go down there to talk to Andre. So since I have this thing called dyslexia, which I didn't find out until I was older, but I have the ability to read stuff backwards. So by this whole paperwork being on the front seat and sitting there, but it was upside down, I read the whole thing. I'm like, they put every Dre did this, Terry did that, and luckily, whatever Andre said to him was cool because they drove me back 1248, unhandcuffed me and let me go.
Ooh, you got lucky.
Yeah, I'm saying, brother. But what's really funny is Andre AC actually wrote some kind of script or story about that whole incident. He called it "Getting High on the 4th of July." Yeah, I don't know if it ever flew or not, but he remembers it well too. That was a crazy day.
Y'all ran up on a lick, ran up in the
man. Okay. I mean, that's who we were as kids. Okay. And again, my dad was the captain of the Minneapolis Police's basketball team for 10 years. Okay, and we just straight up, Northside, basically. We didn't care.
And Terrance, you had parents at home. Y'all acting a fool.
Hey, man, hello. But see, I grew up in the era where people's moms could whoop your butt in public. If they knew your mom, they could snatch you. They can't do that no more now. These kids will cuss you out, talking about, yeah, I wish you would call my mama kind of thing. But back then, all people's mamas could. Like I said, my mom had no issue with snatching up Prince, Andre, Chazz, none of them. You know?
Y'all was wild, man.
But yeah. It was yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It was different times. It was definitely.
And you had mentioned, and let me correct myself. I'm out here. I said John earlier, like I don't have any manners, Mr. Nelson, and now Mr. Baker, if I'm not mistaken. Did you see him What was some of your interactions?
Well, see, that's the reason why. That's why Prince's emancipation came to fruition, because he was a lot more stricter. And like I said, going to Prince's house on 8th, like, I don't remember anybody ever. Chazz very rarely ever. Prince couldn't have nobody come over his house. Over there, you can have friends hang out. The house was like super clean, and you know you couldn't touch nothing, and you know go out in the yard and play. But up at where he lived, that wasn't really nobody else to hang out with and stuff. So you know, it wasn't no fun at all. So I think that's really what drove him. And then his dad, his dad, his birth father, Mr. Nelson. He was so much into his own thing that he had no time for friends. So again, Prince was, in his own right, man, Prince was ahead of his time. But a lot of people don't understand how can his mom let him go? But that again, she knew where he was. She knew Bernadette, and she knew my mother. She knew he was safe. Mm-hmm. She knew he was safe where he was. It was not that she didn't care. That was never the issue. I mean, his mother, Mady, Della, man, she was a beautiful lady all the way around, man. Ain't no way she did not care for her son and just let him go like that. She knew where he was. She trusted my mother with her son, and she trusted Bernadette with her son.
Yeah, no, I can't, and not for me to speak on it, but I can just, listening to you guys when you talk about your mothers and the roles that they played in the lives of you guys, and really stepping up. I have to commend that y'all had that sort of community that y'all could do that. Y'all lived all sort of next door to each other, and it sounded like all of the women knew each other, and it was a bond there.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And, like,
it was amazing. Again, right. Well, again, the 70s were hard times in a lot of ways, but again, for community sense and value and community leaders and all that kind of stuff with togetherness, it's just not even close to being the same. And that's again, I feel sad for the way things are happening now for our communities and stuff. But yeah, man, we came up with, again, good upbringing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Bernadette, my mom died when I was 18. My mother died when I was 18. Miss Bernadette, Mother Bernadette, she took me in. She said, "I'm your mother now." Wow. And then what's really odd, well, I'll tell you, I got to share a story with you, man. Mm-hmm. She at the nurse, the funeral home was on Plymouth in Humboldt. Before I walked in the door, she grabbed me, pulled me to the side. She told me, "I'm your mother now," and I was 18. 20 years later, my ex-wife hurt me really bad. I ended up flatlining twice. When I opened up my eyes in the ER, I didn't see no nurse, no doctors. I saw Mother Bernadette, the first person I saw. That when I came back to life, and she kept her promise as my mother. So no matter what anybody says on this planet, she brought me into the fold, and I'm her son. No matter what anybody says, just like she took Prince in.
Wow, that's a blessing.
So I consider Prince like my adopted brother, no matter what.
Okay.
Wow,
that's amazing, man. Woo. So with that said. One, I wanted to ask you this, just to go back to Prince again, but what was our last conversation? You remember, like, the last time you ever spoke to Prince?
Well, you know what? That's, he had his way of doing things and saying things to people. Mm-hmm. And, like, I don't know, man. Like I said, let me see. I got two instances. I got two instances I'll share with you.
Okay, and let me say this, because I kind of hear some of the hesitation in you, and I can respect that. But we all realize, at least I hope we do, people change and grow and get into different things as they become different people. And obviously, Prince is in a position where he becomes this, superstar and stuff. So I would, I can understand how it's not going to be the same guy that necessarily y'all was as kids. So we kind of understand that. So you're not going to. Yeah. So that's that question. Throughout the years, we really didn't have any up close and personal conversations. But here's the thing: I really, not because he's the superstar, but because, man, that's my boy and shit, man. Let's holler, man. What's up, man? Never got the opportunity truly, but at the rap party at First Avenue, I'm dancing with Apollonia, right? With just boom, dancing and kicking it up.
And Prince makes his way all the way through the crowd on the main dance floor, grabs Apollonia, and looks at me and says, "You think you can play timbales? Well, check this out." And almost on cue, Glamorous Life comes over the speakers. It was kind of a really crazy moment, right? But Ali, one thing about that is that years before he even had the group, the Revolution that developed, he was rehearsing at this place now that's a hotel in Seven Corners down in Minneapolis. But anyways, that's where we were rehearsing and auditioning people before the Revolution. And I was playing congas for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, during the auditions. And one day I decided I'm gonna bring my timbales down. And so as I'm bringing them into the rehearsal spot, there had been about 20 or 30 people just hanging out. And I'm setting them up, and he walks all the way up to me and says, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm setting up my timbales." He says, "Man, timbales will never be a part of R&B. Get them out of here." And somebody who knew us both very well kind of saw my frustration and kind of got me out of there pretty quick. But that kind of the transition from that moment to throwing that Sheila E. thing on me kind of like was one of the moments. And then at the same time, when I leave town and I leave Minneapolis, I leave and go city, and I say, "I'm from Minneapolis." "Oh, do you know Prince?" I'm like, "Oh, do I ever?" So people have been telling me for at least 20 years, "Oh, you should write a book," because I tell them these stories. "You write a book, write a book." So back in the day, I approached Artie Cymone. "You mind if I write a book?" He said, "Man, go ahead." I approached Morris Day. "You mind if I write a book?" He said, "No, go ahead." So one evening at First Avenue, at the back bar on the main floor, he's standing there with his, at the time, Gilbert, who was his bodyguard, who kind of like got the club from him and stuff. Anyway, point is, I walked up to him, so I'm like, "Yo, man, I'm thinking about writing this book about us." And he just stood there and he looked at me and he was like, "Man, I don't think that's a good idea." And I'm like, "Huh?" He said, "You should write something like, Stand By Me or Biloxi Blues or something. As a matter of fact, how would you like it if I wrote a book about your mama?" And I'm like, "Whoa." Okay, at the time I was with this girl from the hood with me, and she kind of like just snatched me away, right? And because I guess he kind of like really didn't hear him say that, so she bought me like a triple, quadruple shot, and I hit it, and I'm like, "Wait a minute!" And I thought about it, I said, "What did you just say?" And so I went through the whole club trying to see if I could see him again, but apparently Gilbert got him up out of there. But yeah, man, them kind of instances that I went through with him, but like I knew that it wasn't really, I guess he was like trying to test me and see where I was. But I'm Terry Jackson. I ain't like that. But,
wow.
I don't know.
He's talking reckless.
Yeah. It was that's how you refer to it. A little reckless. Yeah, at the time it was a little reckless. Yes, sir. You can figure if Gilbert was his bodyguard still, that was a few years ago.
Right. He said, "How about I write a book about?" He said, "Now let me just make sure." You said, "How about if I wrote a book about your mom?"
How would you like it if I wrote a book about your mama? Out his mouth. That came out of his mouth.
Prince, wow.
Yeah. Anyways, the point is I'm writing a book now, but here's the thing, though, Mike. In September 2015, he had a record release party at Paisley Park. Man, they were like, now he invited me to Paisley Park years and years ago. Never went out there, so I figured I'm really going out here because I gotta let him know if I came, I'm gonna write this book. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do it, no matter what he says. So I went to Paisley. Boom. He's still, he's out there record release. Man, all these people from all over the world. Man, people even bringing their babies in the Paisley Park, right? I'm like, Anyways, I go through the whole facility. I'm writing a book. I let Kirk Johnson know, his sister know, anybody I could know. So I know for a fact he knew I was writing this book. As a matter of fact, to the point where I'm downtown Minneapolis about 2 weeks later, and Bobby Z is downtown with his wife, and he howls across the street. I hear you're writing a book about Prince. And I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm writing a book about us." Because basically my book is not just about Prince and Grand Central. I'm writing about Terry Lewis's band, Flight Time, because they got a whole story. Sonny T's band, Stack the Blackest Family. And my working title right now is the story of the South of Minneapolis Battle of the Band. Because so much went on, not just with our band, Grand Central, but them guys, Sonny T's band, them guys was knuckleheads in their own right. David Allen's band, if you think about the Cosby Kids, that was his band with Terry Lewis's band. They got a whole story too. So I'm trying to combine the whole notion of that whole era. But I'm only I'm only doing the formative years. Anything after he became a symbol and who he is, like people know, I'm not doing any of that. I'm only writing from 1970 to 1976, from junior high to high school. During, like I said, when all that stuff was really going on, we were really having our fun as kids.
Okay. And I mean, we don't know much about that time, so that would be an excellent, thing to cover a subject. And I love to hear about, Terry Lewis's band and all that kind of stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah, and see, again, my thing is a lot of people are coming out with books and stuff now, which is fine and stuff. But again, my thing is I know that Prince knew before he passed that I was going to do this book.
Mm.
So that's what leads me in my mind about the whole. Why are you writing a book? Because trying to make even before he was gone, I was going to do this. So yeah. So I'm very confident and feel very good about this project.
All right. Wow. Now, in terms of music, are you still doing any music stuff, or?
Oh yeah, man. Again, I played this last year at the Minnesota Music Cafe with Jelly Bean and this band called JB and the Routine and stuff. I still play. I mean, I did a little thing this year, in Minneapolis during the Prince celebration in April and stuff. I played at this event for the homeless and stuff. So yeah, I still play, man. And yeah, man. So my whole thing is, man, I'm a musician. I love music. See, a lot of our brothers who are so talented, man. Some got more talent than some. I got my whole body, man. They've fallen by the wayside, which is a sad thing, because a lot of people in my neighborhood, we got a lot of Prince. He's a multiple musician, multi-artist, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you, man, we had a lot of cats that we had to learn from, that we looked up to. Mm-hmm. Again, for us, our music became our sport, because, like I said, a lot of people, were athletic, but we competed. We would go see other people. We would go watch them and study them, and go back home and woodshed for hours and stuff to be the best. And again, it's shown in Prince's work.
Well, and just to shout out everybody that was a part of the group back then, because you mentioned, I want to make sure we give them their names proper. You said Hollywood.
Oh, for sure. Okay, we'll start out with the first. Chazz, Chazz Smith, Andre Cymone, and Prince, and then myself, Terry Jackson, and then we got Linda Renee Anderson in the band, and then we got William Hollywood Dowdy in the band, and then we transitioned from Chazz as a drummer to Morris Day as a drummer in the band of Grand Central. There's always 6 players, but we went up against 15-member bands and we killed them.
Wow. And, again, man, I think we're nothing without our parents. We want to make sure that we give the proper respects to the fathers and the mothers.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, I'll give all the parents' names. For Prince Rogers Nelson, it was Mady, Della Baker. Then it was John Nelson, and then for Charles Arthur Smith, it was his father, Charles Sr. And then for Audrey Cymone, it was Fred Anderson and Bernadette Anderson. For myself, first I'll go William Dowdy. William Dowdy was Jeanette Dowdy and Fred Dowdy. And for me, it was Leroy Jackson and Glenda Jackson.
Okay. And now, did you have any brothers and sisters?
Man, I was only child. That's why, Prince wanted to live with me so bad. Yeah, man. That's why I wanted a brother so bad. That's why I like it. Gotcha. To me, he was my little brother. I always wanted a brother. Come on, man. Come on over here.
Gotcha. Oh, and we didn't really mention her. Did you know Tyka very well back then?
Well, man, look, I'll tell you like this, man. I used to hold Tyka's hand going to school. Oh. Like that. That's how far back. I always loved Tyka. Tyka's a beautiful woman. I was there when she got her deal with Jeff Pink and all that stuff, man. And as a matter of fact, I kind of remember in junior high school her having TJ on her fingernails, but I ain't never say nothing about it though. Yeah.
Let me ask you this now: with everything as it stands now, with the family, Prince's family, sort of inheriting different things. And, sometimes you'll see a lot of in the fan base, sometimes, disrespectful type of stuff said about the family or type
I try to stay away from it. I try to stay away. I try to stay away from all that.
Okay.
It's too upsetting for me. I'm too close.
You kind of getting away from the phone or something. I can't really hear you.
Yeah, well, like when Prince passed, man, I left town for a few weeks even, man, because just news stations are coming at me and all kinds of stuff, man. I didn't want to get. I really, man, this is like the second interview I've done since his passing. The first one was another podcast, and by the way, this young lady by the name of Peace Love recommended me that it was imperative I speak with you anyway. So.
Okay, and shout out, you were on Prince's Friend. Shout out to Elon.
Yeah. That's my boy. Sorry, man, I can't remember your name right now. But yeah,
good people.
Thank you. That was a good one, man. That was the first one I've ever done, regarding all this. Okay. So I appreciate this opportunity with you too, man, because again, I mean, for some reason it's really crazy. It's like Prince never talked about that part of his life. And it's kind of funny because I heard him talking about using the band, 12 people, but only 2 played, kind of stuff like that. I'm like, well, what band was you in, dude? And I'm like, oh, okay. But anyways, yeah, man. So I don't know. I'm just glad that he is, who he became. I really feel. Matter of fact, Cymone's older brother Eddie once said that Prince was like all of us. The instrumentation, the voices. Like that was pretty much. So every time I wear the symbol around my neck, it's because I feel that I'm a part of Prince and his music too.
That's what's up, man. Okay, I love it. Listen, man, I thank you so much for coming on here and sharing these stories. A lot of this stuff we don't know about, and we always hear about the fame and the success and stuff, but we don't ever get to really hear about those early times, you know what I'm saying? I think one of the biggest things for me to draw on is, so your parents, and sort of like, one, they offered you guys space to sort of be in a safe place that was still being watched, but allowed you guys to sort of be who you are. But then they also offered that correction when needed, and that y'all was, the camaraderie between, you brothers, man. I think that's an important thing to understand, that helps sort of see where, not just where Prince went, but where all of you guys sort of go, man. And without going too deep into say, let me just finish. Without going too deep into say, I would say, and that's what, now hearing some of these stories and talking to you and Andre and Chazz and things, I really want to see that somehow, man, because from an outsider, I can look at it and say, man, y'all went through so much, and of course, lives change. But I always think y'all still brothers. I don't care whatever is going on. This and that and the third. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you still got to be able to come back and be like, yeah, I respect where we came from, and this is what we learned. Because I feel like as men, and as I think we're all fathers. Everybody that I'm talking about is fathers. That same sort of space that your parents sort of, an environment that was created is the same environment that y'all are creating for your own kids and things. And I would imagine, like, if
respectfully so,
you would want to be like, well, where did my dad come from? Who did my dad used to hang with? And let me understand this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I say all to say is, even me, I can listen to this and I'm learning. I learn. I'm like, okay, let me see.
Cool,
I see how that got down. I see this and that, and how maybe I can apply some of those knowledge to my situation. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things to do and some of the things not to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
no doubt. Like, well, again, I'm 60, man, and I'm still learning. It's still, I'm still picking stuff up, still learning stuff. It's a beautiful thing, to be able to breathe and expand.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's what's up. But I was going to say real quick. I don't know. I know we're
go ahead.
Time, but I just want to leave you one more quick story, man, that came to my mind. I just want to throw at you, man. Okay. All right, real quick. All right, this is when Morris was in the band. This was our manager, right? So we're in the basement, and we did a lot of dance routines. Our rivals were the Jacksons. For some reason, which is really funny, how Prince and Mike became rivals in colleges. It's really funny because our thing was, back in those days in the 70s, the Jacksons even had a cartoon out. But their thing was, too, they could play basketball. So as Grand Central, we rivaled them. Like, we wanted to play them in basketball. We wanted to outdo them in music. So we started doing dance routines. So on this issue, Morris's mom decides she wants to bring her cousin down in the basement to show us these dance routines. So we're all lined up in my basement. This Morris's cousin, this dude, kind of short, chunky dude, starts doing these Sammy Davis Jr. Bojangles moves, right?
Okay.
And we're all looking at him and looking at Morris's mom and looking at him, and he's doing all these twirls and like I said, it's kind of like Sammy Davis kind of stuff, or more or less. And we're like, we're cool, no, thank you. And we try our best not to laugh at him, but of course Prince starts laughing. And then we started laughing at the dude, and Morris's mom, she tried so hard to not make us laugh, but she knew that we couldn't help it. It was totally hilarious, man. Totally hilarious. But I just had to throw that one in there. But one more thing.
Yeah.
Now, at another time too, the Jackson 5's dancing machine was like number one. So we had, I would say right now, pretty much everything on the Jets top 20 list, we did. That was like our song list for Grand Central was Jets top 20. So dancing machine was on top of the list. So there's a Martin Luther King Jr. Park in St. Paul. When we're doing a gig over there, and we go into the dance machine, and when we get to the we go into our little robot routine, and I swear, Mike, it was the first time that I can recall that we had girls screaming for us. Okay? I mean, the girls started screaming like we was like the real deal Hollifield, man. Screeching but I'm telling you, man, I think that's one thing about Grand Central too. Well, we did dance routines. We wanted to ride with the Jackson 5, and that was another issue for us too. Besides, our setup was more or less like Earth, Wind, and Fire. We know with the percussion, guitar, bass, and keys and stuff and all that. But we still would step out and do dance routine.
Wow. So the Jacksons was really like a big sort of, I don't say influence, but an inspiration to be like.
That was inspiration. Yeah, that was music became our sport. As a team of Grand Central, we were going up against Team Jackson 5, and that's true. And then again, that's so crazy how Michael and Prince ended up becoming the so-called rivalry for the top spot and for that issue. Mm-hmm. It's crazy,
Yeah, what I always say, man, you can't deny Michael Jackson, the Jacksons, man. I know a lot of people probably nowadays, some more of a younger than me, would probably not really understand the scope of how heavy the Jacksons was back then.
Oh man, look, like I said, they even had a cartoon, brother. Yeah. So yeah.
I caught the tail end of that. I was like a little kid when that stuff was popping, but the Jacksons was everything, man. Even the second run,
all the albums, everything.
Yeah, like the second run to me, where I jumped on was like the Destiny album, and I was like, whoa. And then that's when Mike.
I think for me, it was Looking Through the Windows album.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of my big come through on the Jags. That's why we really started giving Mike more respect as a singer. Looking Through the Windows album.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Mr. Jackson. Again, like I said, I appreciate
you. Thank you, Mr. D.
Hey, man. That's what we're here for, man, to give y'all a platform and to sit down and listen and learn. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. So with that,
I appreciate the time, brother.
No doubt. Thank you. And with that said, we want to thank the listeners for hanging with us and listening and supporting the show. As I always say, work it like a job. We will see you next time. Peace.